worked on it. There we go. Let me hide this. And let's see, I'll do that. Yeah, just like, that looks good. Okay, so here's the piece. I don't have microphones in my freebase instrument. So the miking was a little weird. I would have preferred if they didn't have, if they had maybe a more central miking. But you know, it always sounds a little different than it does to you up here. And again, that's another reason why I should have done those practice performances. So check out my first step here. I started right at the beginning, getting to know this tune. And I think Molly would have said, you know, find the most challenging section, which if I was to do it all over, I would have started with the E minor section where it starts going bananas. Because that ended up being the hardest section. Although this beginning part was hard, there's like a phenomenological thing that makes it really hard. Let me put this here. Can you guys hear this? So he has almost this like kind of echo. Let's see. Hear how it kind of like, it sounds like it's getting echoed back and forth. I don't know if you guys can hear that. And it's so cool. And he has all these, luckily this piece has all his register changes, which I wasn't able to do them all because I didn't have enough time to practice. And many of them were quite challenging to get going. So especially in the middle section, I just kind of rode out with the organ switch there. But this is like this all, and they're both up in the same. So you've got the same note. You're in the same register between the two hands, which is, for a composer, you know, his compositional thing is so cool. So this, let's see, and then that keeps going up. And there's a lot of dissonance in there, especially when we got, let's see, here. And then he just goes to an F minor. Let's see. And then I feel like that got a little bit buried, but there's a lot of weird stuff here. With the beautiful, the right hand was not so hard to do. It's mostly left hand chord shapes. Just that it's any. It's gorgeous though. And he tells you no casado. So he says no casado, non-casado. Non means no, of course, and casado is the tone chamber. So he says, luckily I had an instrument which is like exactly, had the same specs as the instrument that he performed it and composed it on. So dry to middle, not wet, and with a piccolo and a low. And I'm able to choose the middle reed that's out of the chamber or in the chamber. And then once you hit this end, then you got to go to the chambered casado, which creates this more mellow sound. So you start with this just really bright, beautiful. Let's see. I gotta read it. And then I lift my right hand and I switch to this third from the bottom. That's the casado middle, and then I kind of stop the left hand, and that's that B flat there. And while that's going, I'm switching over here and trying not to make vibration in the bellows, which I didn't do, but. And now you have this, you went from this high, really out of the chamber, high sort of, I consider like the continuum for timbre to me is metallic and wood, you know, and that opening part with the middle out of the chamber sounds very metallic to me. And now you get this. Oh, I gotta switch. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's here. I didn't. I have to read it. Shit. So augment. What is there? And then so the whole thing here in the left hand is this ascending sevenths. So it's like the root and then the dominant seventh above it. So he starts. It begins going down essentially at the boom be da da da. That's with a C and a B flat. Same shape, which you'd think would be easy, but it's not easy when you have to make the leaps. Then it starts moving, and you keep going down. I think I jumped to here is the way to. And then it starts going up again. So I'll show you guys. So this is how Guy, I guess, had it engraved and stuff, and it's to Astro Piazzolla, which I would have loved to ask him about as well. So I did Molly's thing. So let's see. Let me show you my notes. So one of the most important things I found, especially for the left hand, was the fingering. In fact, mostly for the left hand. And I'm not something about this being written in treble clef. The left hand being written in treble clef up high messed me up. It really did. So I had to, like, you can see with these where it's the ledger lines. I had to write in the notes while I was learning it. So I kept those in there. And then there's certain things like just notes to myself. So what I did was, and I will probably keep doing this as a good strategy, is I'll have three different, at least two different layers here. In Fourscore, you can have layers. So I had the notes, which comprised my fingering, expression things, information I need to have, like reminder alphabet letters and stuff like that. Don't forget to hold this down, or it's going to go down now, or whatever. And then the difficulty learned, which was a Molly thing. So I made it to what I considered, some of these parts were yellow. Nothing made it to green yet, guys. But so that was kind of the strategy. And then I was starting to do tallies. I'll show you guys the tally, like the practice tallies. So essentially I learned all this. I learned most of this in 1 week. If I if I could turn back time, I would spend a lot more time, and it would go even better than it did. So let's see. So it's essentially that, and then it's more. You guys just heard it, so I don't need to play the whole thing, but I can just share this. And then so that happens, and there's all these kind of like things that get held. So right here, I was on the middle in the casado. So you're holding that here at the molto ritarando. And the left hand is being sustained there. Let's see. No. You lift that up. And then, while that's sustained, I got to switch the register switch. And then move it down and start this. Hold the bass note down. So this is... So it starts in 4, but then it's going to move to 3/4, and it's actually going to move back. So he has this dick da da da. He has a polymeter going on. Let's see, it's an octave. This measure, I kind of like skipped. I was like, I don't know how the fuck to figure that out. Like that half note triplet over these eighth notes. So I was just like, as long as it kind of moves off, I'm gonna be okay with that, given the amount of time that I have. So when I started getting closer, I was like, okay, now you gotta kind of get into what's it called, triage mode, and just really get to know the piece super well, and figure out all the places that you're gonna fall apart, and figure out how to minimize that, and how to recover if you do fall apart, which I did, as I pointed out. Let's see, where's there? Also, I'm pretty sure Guy must have had an extended keyboard on this, because a lot of this middle section went out of the range of my keyboard, so I had to move things down an octave, which I don't really think hurt the piece at all, because the way the accordion has all these overtones that we're hearing, especially when you have that piccolo register, like right now I have the organ on, you can't, it's hard to really even tell like where it is, you know, like what octave you're in a lot. So anyway, so then it's moving, you can see here, it's moving between 4/4 and 3/4 up at the top. So you have, let's see, ba-do-dee-do. So it's like one, let's one and that's too crazy count, but I can't count out loud and play it. So anyways, it goes on, and then it moves to this other, so the whole thing is like kind of gaining movement and motion in this. So più mosso is a little bit more. So I was supposed to get a little faster there. So now we're in 3/4 time, and we get again this shifting. So the whole melody is, but it's duck, duck, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Sorry, it's 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, let's see, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and it's also, I think, I didn't really work it out, but I'm pretty sure it's like 5/3 or something. Like if we count it, one, like, it's not only is it on the upbeats, but it's also a polyrhythmic thing. So, and the other thing that's weird about it is it's hard to make it feel like it has a lot of motion, because the drone, that drone is in the whole time here, you have to keep this pinky note sustained. Let's see. And that sort of like can obscure some of that. It kicked my ass, but in a wonderful way, because I love this piece. So that's shit. And I used a Bluetooth foot pedal to change the pedals here. So anyway, this is that's the second theme, and that kind of develops. And then it gets to this other crazy thing, which really, I wonder if like I borked and I didn't sustain these, because when I was listening to the roulette performance, it sounded like down here you're supposed to, like, check this out, guys. Is this easy to read or what? You're like, what the fuck is this? So luckily Guy recorded this on, I think it's on Transylvania software. So I got to, everything made sense, you know, just listening to his performance. I don't like the roulette. Like, I'm going to keep this in my repertoire and really try to, especially the E minor section and I keep calling it the whirling dervish. Like, it just gets more and more wild and crazy, and it gets faster and faster. The tempo gets a little faster, but what you're doing in your right hand gets to be more and more and more. But to me, I didn't hear like these sustained, because the melodies, it's that same.